Yeah, personally, I enjoy working with founders who really don't need me. And that's not to say because, oh yeah, my job, that makes my job easy. It's more to say I like to work with founders who are highly opinionated. They've thought about this idea a lot and they know what they want to do. They're not needing to come to me and ask me for my advice because personally, they should know much better than I do what should be done. And on top of that, mostly DeFi founders. I think by and large, I like to work with DeFi founders. It's just where I feel most comfortable and where I feel like I might be able to carve out a bit of an edge on what can work and what can't work.
I think I go back to some very old school expectations of founders. One is being extremely mindful of the funds that you have, looking to preserve those funds, but knowing that you've also raised those funds to grow your team, grow your startup, your protocol. There's no reason to save all that money and not spend it on the purpose of actually building your company. I think another one is being accountable, just being accountable for what you say and do. That means not working on multiple projects at once and working on the project that you set out to build. I think that's been a awful trend we've seen in our space with founders working on multiple projects. And then I think the last one is just being a pleasant, kind person to work with. Sometimes maybe it takes a more confrontational approach to get certain work done or to make demands and have higher expectations of folks on your team. But I do think that there is some karma that comes back to founders who are pleasant to work with, are professional, and look to foster, really strong working relationships.
We tend to want to skip or avoid some of the attention that we don't see that will sustain. Instead, to do value investing in a very, very early industry like crypto, we focus on the founders. That's the people can grow. They will grow through bears and bulls, even multiple cycles. So with that, we have investing into portfolios that's like 60 years ago or 5 years ago. Even until today, we haven't got a single token, and which is fine. So we want to be very strategic because what we do, the founders also provide us back with values, even if it's not financial exits.
我觉得一个 RW 项目要做好的话，需要有这么几点。第一点的话，它必须要合规，因为 RWA 行业呢跟其传统行业是紧密结合的，必须要在一个监管的框架内。第二点的话 ，RWA 的项目必须要考虑清楚从哪里获得流动性，你不能仅仅是把资产发行出来，而且要保证流通性要好，能不能卖得出去，这是非常重要的。第三点的话 ，RWA 的话最好是能够跟我们安统区块链产业已经成熟的一些应用方向，比如 DeFi 去结合，这样的话才能够利用好我们行业积累多年的一些优势以及链上充足的流动性，比如说跟稳定币的一个结合比如说跟比特币生态跟以太坊生态去结合，这样才能起到一个比较好的效果。那我相信 Mantle 背靠传统共性化交易所的一些好的流动性，那我觉得它挑选出来的项目一定能够在整个产业中脱颖而出。
We know that most of the RWA projects, they failed either because of liquidity or distribution or regulation. What made Mantle stand out is it built an entire pipeline for builders to abstract all of those complexities. So builders can launch a compliance RWA without handling the liquidity and also the license themselves. Mantle used its own treasury to support the liquidity so that builders don't need to suffer from the very cold start and can build the RWA projects more like a DeFi primitive, which is composable and liquid, but still institutional grade.
So Mantle hackathoners should know about the privileged position that Mantle real-world assets have in the market. Crypto is beyond the phase of simply take the real-world asset and tokenize it on-chain. The next wave of real-world assets won't be that simple. There will be a full-stack service for each real-world asset vertical when it comes to putting more exotic real-world assets on-chain, and that is what Mantle is offering for its real-world asset builders, a compliant real-world asset tech stack for getting the next waves of real-world assets on-chain. So Mantle focuses on the regulatory and compliance plumbing, allowing the builders to just focus on the products. And so that's why the real-world asset side of the Mantle hackathon is supremely interesting to me.
The advice I will give to founders building through the cycle is that, again, focusing on your DNA. Like most of the founders, and I mean definitely most that come into crypto, don't really have a whole thought out plan. They came in because it was interesting, and certainly a hype came up and a trend came up, and they decided that, oh, I want to follow. This looks pretty legit. Not the case, most of the cases. So I recommend if you want to build through cycle, go back to what you do care about. Like, is it socials? Are you really good with socials and how people connect and how communities are for? Whether crypto or non-crypto, it's always with a real passion that you can't stop thinking about it. And tapping into the real world, that will allow you to have the forces and momentum and drive to build through cycles.
Good question. The hunger for revenue. I mean, hackathon projects are often about showing off cool tech, even if monetization is unclear. But real startups are obsessed with revenue, and that often makes them look more practical and less flashy, but much more grounded.
For a good ecosystem for builders, investors, I think in the past, it's mostly driven by incentives, right? Whichever ecosystem when you build, people go on buy the smart chain so they can go on alpha, perps, and then spot listing, right? So the whole industry in the past has been building for exits. That's when people choose ecosystem, and whichever ecosystem can give them more grants or get the support of the high level. So it's highly political. There's also more about the culture, but my recommendation for builders to choose an ecosystem is that into the future, you gotta really know the strategy of an ecosystem. There are too many chains. There will be more chains to come. So to build for a certain blockchain is no longer that important. It's going to be more agnostic. It's more about the more important thing will be which sector specifically in the real world does the blockchain care about? Does that resonate with you? Is that the direction that you want to build for? And does the ecosystem or the blockchain, etc., with their partners like VCs, LPs, etc., that will provide corresponding resources and connections to create that momentum to serve you when you build for your vision.
So about the first question for being a returning judge, it feels really great to be back. The last time I judged, I was very impressed by the energy and the creativity of the builders. Returning now gives me a unique opportunity to witness the evolution of the Mantle ecosystem. And it's not just about seeing new projects, it's about seeing how the developer community has matured and how the use cases have become more sophisticated. I'm really looking forward to seeing how the bar has been raised since my last time here.